Ladies and gentlemen, we are live in person with Sweetss. For those of y'all that don't know, Sweetss was one of our first guests that we actually ever had on the live cast. So we are very excited to be welcoming her back. Make sure y'all tell everybody outside what's going on because we're going to have, as we always do, a very authentic and free-flowing conversation. And again, this is a special one because we don't get to do many of these in person, but since we're in Kansas City and you're in Kansas City, and what's really dope is I really connected to Kansas City when we first came up here. We talked about it this morning briefly because we ended up, Wifey P and I ended up at the Juke House randomly when we came up here, and you happened to be performing that night. Which was a great performance, by the way, for sure. The energy has always been fully felt and fully embraced because we on the We Outside Livecast, we had you on the first time. No different than we're having you here for the second time because of your authenticity, the visions that you have, and the creative that you are. And it's appreciated. And that's the only type of people that we do welcome on to the livecast because, authenticity, I think, is something that is lacking in this world these days. So whenever we can, feel that from another individual, it's something that we want to talk about is really what it comes down to. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the home and welcome to Sweetss live and in person because these are few and far between, but we were able to make it happen because as I just said a few minutes ago, I've seen her in person before, but this is the first time that we have actually connected. And we're able to talk. Yes, which is very much appreciated. So again, people, y'all probably know this is a very authentic conversation. You can see there's nothing in front of me. There's nothing planned other than just having a human conversation. I can't wait. Right? So I appreciate you being here. Welcome to our home. Welcome back to the podcast. A returning family member. Our family members always have the doors open to them. The door is always unlocked. So anytime that you want to come out, you just even call and say the word.
We've been planning this for a long time.
We have.
Outside of this, we've just been planning to try to meet.
Isn't that the truth? But I feel it's, at the end of the day, it's really something that the universe will let it happen when it's meant to happen, right? And, that's something that I felt, from that first experience that we had of you, during your performance back. It would have been June of last year. So over a year now. Over a year. So let's just start there, right? There's no plan to this conversation. Let's start with authenticity. What does authenticity mean to you, especially in a world today that is really ruled by social media in general, agendas, whatever word you want to really give it? What's your definition of authenticity?
For me, it's just showing up as your true self, as raw, grimy, pure, just showing up as your true self as much as you can. In the artist world, they want us to market that and capitalize that and sell that. As an entrepreneur, authenticity is what keeps my business flowing and successful because people are coming to get serviced by your personality, to be in your energy, in your presence, in your space, outside of the service that you're providing them. I think as an artist, it's harder to be authentic because you're always in sell a product to your audience mode versus, and I think more so now because authenticity with being an artist has just changed so much with the climate, with the introduction of social media. You almost have to wake up and put on a face. There is no showing up as yourself. But then also they still want you to just put the camera in front of your face and just show your life. But when you get to a certain social status, the life that they want you to show has to match the social status. So I don't know. It's got a lot of different definitions to me. But for me, I would say it's always just being your true self, showing up as your true self. That's authenticity.
No, I agree. And that's one thing that I've always appreciated, from being able to, follow you on a couple different platforms. You're showing the real life of what it is as the entrepreneur that you are, as the artist that you are, the struggles, because a lot of artists, as you were saying, a lot of entrepreneurs, even in my experiences anyways, all they want to ever show is just the good, the good, the good.
Yeah.
And I think that creates a false sense of, if I'm just going to go do this one thing because I have this awesome idea, that it's just going to happen and things are just going to blow up, right?
Yeah.
It's like when people are like, oh, I go viral. Like, a lot of people don't realize that there's many different struggles, challenges, adversities, barriers that go up to that viral moment. Nobody just starts an account one day and is like, that first post that they put out there just goes viral because they have a dope song or a dope product or whatever the case may be. So what can you maybe offer as advice through your experiences, whether through your art or your entrepreneurship, to why people should continue to push through those barriers just to continue to working towards their goals, whatever they may be?
I have to say, I can't speak much from the artist side, only because I don't make music or show up as an artist to go viral. So I can only speak from the entrepreneur side, because with what I do and the business and the platform, virality has to be a part of what you do, because the more eyes you're in front of, the better your product will sell or the better your business will grow. But in terms of music, that's not why I do it. We all have bills to pay. So on the entrepreneur side, I do have to consider that. But for the longest time, I mean, my platform now, last year, it reached $100,000. That was never the goal, and now I've kind of been like going through my followers, and I'm just unfollowing people and making them unfollow me too. If I feel like I don't interact with you, I don't talk to you, because what I want to get back to is building community. And a lot of people don't know, but I started my social media platform maybe like 4 years ago. It hasn't been that long. And for the most part, I was talking to myself for a really long time, putting comments in my own comment section or replying to myself in my story, and then responding to those questions so that I could build like a comfort level with the people that were watching, because everybody doesn't feel comfortable just talking to you. So I talked to myself for probably a good 365 days before. So with virality, you also have to be a certain level of crazy. I knew what my business could do. I knew the value that I brought to the lock community in terms of the way that I wanted to deliver information, which was all about like knowledge and education, which was something that people weren't talking about. So I talked to myself for a pretty long time. And then people started asking questions, and they started being engaged, and people were buying my classes, and people were flying to places and cities I was at and coming to my classes. And I say the only advice I can give you is stay committed, stay dedicated, but also at the forefront, remember why you started doing it. Don't get sidetracked and start chasing the fame of having all of these eyes on you, because what it did for me was cause me to strictly burn out. There was this pressure of, I have to go live every day. I have to show up every day. I have to have the camera in front of my face, show what I'm doing every day. And after a while, that's so tiring and exhausting, because then you're showing up when you don't want to show up. And so part of your personality becomes, I'm faking it until like 12 o'clock, and then now I'm back to my true self. So then there was a disconnect between the person that I post, and then when people come into the salon, the person that they get. And it's like, once that started happening, I just had to take a step back from social media. So I've actually been on probably a sabbatical for like a year. And I'm just like, you see my business page. I'm just starting to get back comfortable with posting, because I really had to and I'm not even at the level of a lot of people that go viral consistently and their pages are 1 million plus followers. I don't think I could ever become that person, because I know kind of what you have to do to maintain that. And I don't enjoy that at all. So just stay consistent about what you want. Don't forget why you're doing it, and show up as your authentic self and be true to yourself.
I very much appreciate that. And I commend you for being and having that self awareness, which a lot of people sometimes they even do realize it, I feel. But because of the points that you just made, even though they might feel it in their gut or their mind that, this is what I want to be, wherever that pressure is coming from, a lot of times it's coming from places or people that they don't even have any know of. It's just that pressure of the world that we live in these days with respect to media. And I'm with you from that artistry standpoint as well. Like I always tell people, I've always loved hip hop. Like when I was 10 years old and heard Das Effects, They Want Effects, I knew in that moment that at some point in my life, I wanted to be a hip hop artist. I wanted to be a rapper. And it took me a minute to get there because life, for the next 25, 30, 40 years, 30 years or so, whatever, went the way that it did. And no different than we started this conversation at the top of it. Sometimes the universe has things planned out for you that you will never be aware of, let alone even in some cases understand the whys, right? And I feel you there because it's just, you do it for the passion and the love that you have it from the artistry side. And the beautiful thing is, I feel, and especially people who feel similar to myself and you, people can never take that away from you. And what I mean by that specifically is the authenticity. Because at the end of the day, have to look ourselves in the mirrors.
That part.
We are the only ones at the end of the day that are truly going to have our backs.
That part.
The amount of people that over the last couple of months that I've lost, like you were talking about, unfollowed or something happens, I kind of just refer to it now as, even if I didn't see in the forefront of my mind that I probably should have disassociated with that person already, the universe had my six at that point, and they extracted them from my life for a reason. And I welcome that because no different than you were kind of saying, and not so much necessarily in these words, but we're not here as authentic, real people to play to the masses, right? We understand, at least those that really get it or understand that, something that you make or create, whether from the artistry side or the business side, with you as an entrepreneur, not everybody's going to be a fan of that or a consumer of that. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost, especially in this social media aspect days as well, where you think that literally everybody that's following you or come across a post or a reel that you have out there, everybody just has to like it. But it's not the case in any way, shape, or form. And I think that's something that a lot of up and coming artists or entrepreneurs even as well, we're talking to you as well, that can really learn from. If you find that mindset that you understand that you're not going to win over everybody, I think that's a very freeing experience.
And also what's very important to keep in mind is the amount of likes does not represent the value. The amount of likes, like put that on a shirt, the amount of likes and the engagement does not represent the value. A lot of people have a lot of value to offer the world, but they haven't built the community yet. And so that leaves the post with very little or minimal likes. But when you post that video, post that song, post that product that finally resonates with people, go back and post all that work that you feel like, this didn't get enough likes for me, so I'm going to post it again. Because the algorithm is the algorithm, and it doesn't always show up on people's timeline. You post a lot, and I don't see half the stuff you post most of the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't be. A lot of what I started doing was repurposing my old work from 4 years ago when people weren't talking to me.
Yeah.
And just posting it now because people talk to me. And I think that's the same thing with and going back to kind of what you're talking about with the music and artistry. That can get exhausting too. And, I think a year ago now, maybe, I took a break from music because I felt like
I remember that
I was not showing up authentically. And like my mental health was being affected. I also didn't understand what goes into having to show up as often. And I think trying to run my business, trying to also promote myself as an artist and be a part of a team, it just kind of took a toll on me. So it's like, also remember, take care of yourself. Take a step back if you need to, and then get back on the horse. Like, I'm back on the horse now. But I had to love myself for a second and just take a huge pause and focus on what was super important to me in that moment. And then it's almost kind of what Tabitha Brown said the other day about entrepreneurs: get a job.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to be starving artists. We want to be able to generate the income and then use that income to fund the dream or fund the hobby or fund the thing that we really love. But we have to take care of the things that are important that are in the now too. And on top of all those things, I'm a mom. So it's like, I really had to take care of myself because I was not doing that. That's a whole nother conversation, but yeah.
I can appreciate that because, what you said there, I think when people ever talk about the question or the thought of, well, you have to take care of number one, first and foremost, and you have to be selfish, right? In that regard, not selfish in the standpoint that a lot of people think when they think of the word of selfish, like me. Yeah. But when it comes to your overall well-being, physically, mentally, spiritually, if you're not right in those areas and taking care of yourself as number one, well, how good can you be to your son? Yeah. Those that you call your family around you. My experience is you can't. You can't. And in those instances, you have to be selfish. You have to take that step back and put that work onto yourself as well, because I feel that it helps. I don't want to say redefine necessarily. That might not necessarily be the right word, but kind of just like reset yourself, as you kind of were putting it. When you just decided to take a step back, sometimes you have to get that reset and that recharge, for yourself as a human, first and foremost, in your case, as a mom, as an entrepreneur, as an artist, because you had said it earlier in this conversation that stuff could get very overwhelming, very tiring, and start to disconnect you from why you started to do all of those things, or why you do all of those things to begin with. So let's talk about that real quick. How do you feel, just generally speaking, that kind of deciding to take, about a year ago, taking that step back from the music just so you could kind of regroup, let's just call it regroup, if you will. What impact do you feel that has led you to get back on that proverbial horse a year later?
I like Redefine, because Redefine, you are giving yourself the opportunity to decide what I like, what I don't like, what I need, what I can live without. And sometimes you don't always know that. So I like Redefine. I'm gonna keep that. In terms of, you said why I decided to get back on the horse, or how I feel about that?
Kind of just what the experience was and the impact that you feel of taking that step back a year ago.
So many feelings.
Oh, yeah. So as general or as specific as you want to get, how do you feel that impacted you deciding, I got to just take a step back for a minute to redefine things for myself?
It was a lot of feelings. Things I'm not going to say, but I think that when you decide to take moments for yourself, it does two things. It helps you figure out who should be around you, but it also helps you figure out where you're eventually going to go. In terms of the who should be around you, I think sometimes we get so caught up in wanting the best for a person and thinking that we know what's best for them, that when they decide to maybe take a different pathway that you may not want them to take, it helps you see where you should place people, how close you should let people be to you, because you start to understand your value to that person and where you should place people on the totem pole. And I mean, this family, friends, shoot, you could be doing business with somebody. it just helps to create a good hierarchy standing in your life with the people around you. In terms of where I want to go, it helped me understand that I am the magic. And so if I decide to pause for a year, the magic doesn't die. I can bring the magic back whenever I want to. So I'm still going to the place that I want to go. I'm just taking my time. And I don't like being rushed by anyone because it almost makes me feel like it's an order or demand. And now I'm no longer doing something I love. I'm being forced to kind of create on a schedule. And that may work for some people. That does not work for me. And you kind of figure out the type of artist that you are. I figured out I am not a machine. I need rest. I need a vacation. I need to sit on the beach. I need to take a week off and just have a long shower if I need that. You know what I'm saying? I need time with my kid. I need time with my parents. I need those things because those help me make music. And so when I don't get that, I feel like what I create is not love. And that's important for me. So yeah, lots of feelings.
And I like how you put that. The magic never dies, because you're right. You're really right. It's the magic is always there for us as individuals, you know, and especially the belief that we have with it. But as artists, sticking specifically to that, we, as the authentic artists, for the real authentic artists that are out here and doing it for the authenticity, and not necessarily the bag. Like nobody's gonna, you know, ever shy away from that if that comes, right? But it's still got to be on their own terms if it's authentic. But we choose as authentic artists to share that magic with people. And I think if you can just keep that as an artist at the forefront, or if you even need to take that break and redefine, we're going to stick with that word. We're going to stick with redefine. I think that's very important, because no different than you were talking about with respect to social media and finding what your community is, you started to allude to it as far as your artistry as well. You have to find your community. And there's an age-old conversation that we always have every so often, I should say, on our live cast is, you know, as an artist, would you rather have 1,000 true fans, right? 1,000 true fans, or be somebody that's out here, you know, and, you know, maybe you're doing tours in front of, you know, even if it's 2,000, 3,000 people, but maybe not necessarily fans of yours. They just happen to be there because maybe you're part of a lineup, and there happens to be 2,000, 3,000 people. Or even if they're fans, but you don't really have the support from them. You might only have the support in the moment versus, again, those 1,000 true fans in that community that you and your magic has built with those 1,000 people that are going to stand with you, whether you're out here putting something out day in, day out, every other day, or respecting you for taking that year off and supporting you in that respect. What are your thoughts when you hear, you know, the possibility of having that 1,000 true fan community that you've built versus, there's not even a need to name any names out there in general, just anybody that might be out there just touring and maybe just getting by, you know, from a monetary standpoint, or even from a fan standpoint, who might just drop off after that 15 minutes of fame is gone. What are your thoughts and differences between building that community and just, let's just call it the 15 minutes of fame that some people will end up getting out here sometimes, most of the time anyways?
I think that, again, you have to kind of go back to why you do it. So I think that's like the big difference between people who are independent and then people who choose to sign to a label. People who get distribution deals and people who choose to allow a label to control kind of like their narrative. Of course, I'm always going to go with the 1,000 authentic people who are going to respect what I want, you know, respect that I'm growing and evolving and may release an R&B song this year, and next year I'm back in my element of dancehall. You know what I'm saying? Can those 1,000 people respect and appreciate and value what I'm bringing artistically? Or are they going to be, you know, 50,000 fans that are like, well, she changed up. I want this because in the moment that was hot. It comes down to business. This is a business. Even when there's love for what you do, it's a business.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people invest in you, you have to provide the return, right? So that gets so hard and complicated if I'm trying to go into detail. But I'm always going to go with the 1,000 authentic people who are in my circle, who are in my corner, so to speak. But I also respect the people who treat music like a business because that is your love.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's your passion. Your desire is to make money, to get accolades, to be on billboards, to be number one. I respect that too because that also takes a certain level of work ethic, commitment, dedication. The same way it takes work ethic, commitment, dedication to build that community of those 1,000 people who really mess with you. You just got to figure out who you do it for and what you do it for. I'm just not interested in becoming a capitalist when it comes to music. That's why I focus on building my business so I can take my additional funds that I might have and invest it into doing something I love without the pressure and expectation of, oh, but I didn't make any money from it. But that's okay because that's not why I did it. You know, like I just recorded a music video. It cost me $5,000. I don't look to make a return on that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm thankful that I was able to make that additional money from a business that I invested my time and my energy into so that I can fund things that I just love to do. So many people don't get to wake up and say that. So I'm always going to play devil's advocate when you ask questions like that. It's like, I don't know about other people. Music don't pay my bills.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what it comes down to. For a lot of people, music pays their bills.
Mm-hmm.
And what a blessing that is.
For real.
For you to be able to wake up, touch your computer, create a beat, or go in the studio and record a song and send it to someone and they return that with cash. Ooh, what a blessing.
Right.
But that's just not my life.
And I respect that because it's about the passion and the love that you do it for. And a lot of people, and you're right, I mean, it is a business. There's an industry built around music for a reason because people do get that return on investment because that's their journey of entrepreneurship, running a label or being a promoter or whatever the case may be. And you know, there's a special amount of appreciation that I have for individuals who think like you because that's the truest form of artistry, right? You know, in my thoughts, in my world, it's no different in looking at. I was talking about this probably about a month ago. We had Bump Jonas from the Sprinkles of Small Salt podcast. Shout out to Bump Jonas out there, and we were talking about the difference between being a hip hop artist versus being a rapper, right? And what we meant by that is because a lot of people, I mean, we're 52 years and change into the culture of hip hop specifically, right? And there's literally principles to the culture of hip hop. Some people think
If
even that
you respect it.
Correct. Because if you know the debate and conversation that we were having in general was if you're not living by the principles of hip hop, are you really hip hop or are you just a rapper or are you just a R&B singer or a graffiti artist? Because some people I think get it twisted as well where they think hip hop is something that you do. Hip hop's not something that you do. It's truly a culture that is built on principles.
Master teacher KRS-One, who I grew up on, said hip hop is who you are. It is culture. It is not something that you do. It is who you are. It is embedded into your very being. Shout out to KRS-One.
Man, for real.
I grew up on KRS-One. He was the only rapper my dad let me listen to.
And he was the individual that actually inducted those principles. It was the declaration of the hip hop culture to the Hip Hop Museum in Washington, D.C. And that was in, I believe it was earlier this January of 2025. And actually was presented to the United Nations in 2021 as a declaration of peace.
Come
from the hip hop community.
And he would be so mad that I called him a rapper. My bad, Harris. He wants to be called a lyricist because that's exactly what he is.
Yes,
He's a lyricist.
he is.
He's a culture builder. He says culture builder. Okay.
It's so true. He's a very intelligent individual on so many different levels.
Very.
So, I'm grateful for, the individuals such as himself that are still out here, whether they're putting music out or just continuing to live that culture of who they are and
exactly
what they help build. I mean,
yeah.
Think about it from this perspective. All the, quote unquote OGs, such as him or such as like a Rakim or Ice Cube that just dropped, and all these people who are still putting out music and outdoing people who we kind of talked about earlier, 15 minutes of fame that they're just catching some lightning in a bottle. But that's all that's ever going to end up being. I mean, we're talking about, Karis, when it came out in early mid 80s, and here we are in 2025 still talking about him, still talking about the Rakims, LL Cool J's.
Because of their impact to the culture.
It's building legacy.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel that if you're out to build legacy and not dollars, from whether it's music or entrepreneurship or anything else in life, it's definitely going to take longer in some cases, right? But the value that I see in that and taking that slow and steady race, like the turtle, if you will, in that good old tale of the hare and the turtle, or hare and the tortoise. The tortoise is not only going to end up winning in the end, but my definition in that of winning is talking about the KRS ones, where here we are in 2025 and they are still very, very relevant. But most importantly, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, respected, because it's about respect at the end of the day, as far as what we're doing, or at least in some people's cases, what we're actually doing it for.
Yeah. And I think, again, building the legacy or building the bag, you have to really find a way to do both. And you have to pursue the bag. Well, this is what I say. Money does not run for me. So I never have to go chase the bag. I don't even have that in my vocabulary of speaking. I don't chase the bag. The bag comes to me. All I do is focus on building the community, building the legacy, staying true to what I started from the beginning. And honestly, when I do that, the money is abundant. It comes to me. And I want that in all aspects and areas of my life. And when I feel myself slipping away from that and becoming a capitalist, that's when I have to take a pause and I have to take a step back. And I'm like, okay. Because it is tempting. Once you start making the money, it's so tempting. But you said earlier, I have to be okay with myself when I come home, when I go to sleep. My thing is, we all will have a day of judgment. Whatever you believe in, whatever your religion is, I always say I don't want to explain anything that I don't have to God the day that I meet him. And if I got some explaining, if he pulls open that book and he goes, okay, so tell me about, I just don't even want that moment to happen. So if I feel that I have to do some explaining about a choice I'm about to make, I'm not going to make it. And that is just me staying true to myself and making sure that when I leave this planet, I leave it on the terms that I felt good about the way that I lived my life and the decisions that I made and the people that I came into contact with. I don't want people to have a bad taste in their mouth about me or about an experience that they had with me. I know I can't control that, but I can control how I move and how I react. You can feel how you want to feel, but I know what I did.
Correct.
Okay.
Trust me, I'm so with you on that one, because you're right. I mean, as long as you're living authentically, and I made a post about it yesterday. Like, I said something along the line: do whatever the fuck you want in this world.
Yeah.
As long as you're not causing harm, bringing harm. There's no bigotry involved in that. Do whatever the fuck you want in this world.
We can cuss.
Yes, we can cuss.
Okay,
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I'm
Disclaimer:
pirate.
we cuss on the way outside. You can drop f-bombs, you can drop whatever the fuck you want. Sorry.
I'm
yes.
a pirate. I did not know we could
No,
cuss.
you can say
I was
whatever you
trying
want.
to
We
keep
outside, and
it
this is your
PG.
show. You say whatever and however you want to say it.
Okay.
So, disclaimer, people. There's probably some more cussing coming. The rest of this conversation. But it is. I did, like, as long as you're not causing any harm in any way,
Yeah.
shape, or form to people, literally do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Be authentic, because you hit the nail on the head right there. People can think about me however they want. I know what I did or didn't do. I know at the end of the day, I'm right with myself. Now, don't get me wrong. There's sometimes where certain scenarios happen, and I might have to, like, sometimes people that, and this is mainly people that are either narcissists or people that have narcissistic traits, right? Those motherfuckers will spin your head around sometimes, right? Like, I've caught myself sometimes having to go back and, like, man, did I really do something?
Yeah.
Like, for a couple days at a time, sometimes subconsciously or consciously, and I go back and I'm like,
that's the number one clue that you're dealing with a crazy person. I just want you to know.
Yes, it's so true, because over the last month or so, there was like a 2-3 week period where I was doing some heavy studying on narcissistic traits, and it's wild. It's narcissists are wild, because you know, the biggest thing that I took away from that, and I'm getting this from what you had kind of just said at the end of the day, where I know I'm good and I didn't necessarily do anything. I might have disturbed some demons inside of them, but not for a bad reason, just because I was living my life being authentic, and you know, my light, or your light in this case, maybe stirred some of the darkness in that individual's world, who wanted to go and react some kind of way, or throw some shade or hate, or they were discomforted by what you are doing ultimately. And that's out of our control. Right? Like, why should we change? Again, as long as we're not doing anything wrong to people out here or causing any kind of harm in any way, why should we change? Like, who are they to sit here and say who we can or cannot be at the end of the day? And I think that's, you know, when validation, right? Validation. Like, I finally came to a realization over this summer that when it comes to my music, kind of like you were talking about earlier, and the path that I started on a couple years ago, and the journey that I've been on, because it's always about what you're doing in the background when nobody's watching, right?
Big facts.
And that's what I've been doing this last year specifically, because it's my journey, it's my growth, no different than it's yours as well, right? And I came to a realization that I don't fucking need validation from anybody. When you're doing it for the love and the passion for it, like you talked about at the top of this conversation, who cares who's validating you? As long as you're validating yourself, because it is your path and your journey. I don't give a fuck about validation from anybody else. What are your thoughts when you hear something like that? Being a person who does it for the passion, for the love, for the true artistry of what it is. When that conversation comes up about being validated or not being validated or co-signed by somebody, what are your thoughts in general when that topic comes up for you and your music?
I don't give two flying pigs, so that's difficult for me, because I don't think validation is wrong. I think validation is just that thing that exists that helps you know a person really fucks with what you're doing. But when we start talking about like validation as it relates to value, again, we come back to this word. It doesn't coexist. You know, validation does not mean value, because if we look online, it's hundreds of thousands of people validating bullshit every single day because it's trending. You know, so validation doesn't equal value. But also, a cosign from someone in the industry of your interest does not also equal you're amazing. It equals they like what you do. They fucking with it. Or they like that one video. They haven't done a clog of your catalog and have decided to validate the entire existence of what you do. They came across this one video, they fucked with it, they made a comment, or they hit a like, and they moved on with their day. It doesn't mean, oh man, y'all want to see a collab with me and this artist. Like, well, you're doing a lot. That is not what that means. They are a regular person on social media, just like you, scrolling. They saw your video, they liked it. Cool. Take that now and go, okay, they fuck with me, or at least they fuck with this visual. Let me stay focused on this pathway that I'm going on, because obviously now, one, my algorithm is growing because this person saw me. So let me just keep doing what I'm doing. It doesn't, cosigns to me come with a grain of salt, one. But I'm always thankful because it means my algorithm is expanding. And now the people that I may look up to or admire have eyes on what I'm doing. It doesn't mean that I'm going to change what I'm doing. It doesn't mean that I'm going to keep doing that one thing that they liked because maybe that's working. But no, I'm going to keep being creative. I'm going to keep doing my thing. I'm going to keep staying true to myself. It's just very dangerous. A cosign or a validation from someone in the industry is very dangerous. So you kind of just have to take it as, I'm on the right path. I'm going to keep doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and what is for me is going to find me. That's how I feel about that.
Now on the flip side, somebody who kind of gives you on the other side of the coin that it wouldn't necessarily be a cosign, but it's you move them in a way, because music's about moving people with emotions and feelings, right?
Yes.
So, and I'll give you for example that literally happened yesterday, right? I was at, shout out to J.R. Hoodstar and 913 Day. I was there yesterday. I was on the grills yesterday. I'm sitting on the grills and I was in the middle.
Wait, at the barbecue?
Yeah.
On the grill?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We had 2 little grills cooked. We probably had 1,000 people out there. We cooked, me and Devin. We probably went through about, at least 300-400 hamburgers, about 400 hot dogs. It was a hell of an event. It was a hell of an event. And so I'm sitting there in the middle, and I get this message on Instagram from this dude that I've known for 20 some odd years. 20 some odd years. Like I'm the godfather to his son. Okay. Give you a little context. Also some additional context. I have not talked to this dude in a minute. He's not hit me up in any way, shape, or form. Hey, how's things going? Hey, how's the family? Yada, 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 yada. DMs me. And he basically was like, because I did this summer, one of the things that I did was I paid homage from 1990 to 2005. I took 100 of my favorite tracks from that time period.
I saw that.
And I just completed them on Friday. And number 52 was Eminem's White America. All right. So I did my 2025 version of it. And for people, specifically to this dude, White America is essentially the rigged system that the world as a whole lives in. That's the original concept from when Eminem did it back in 2002 or something like that. And I just kept the same premise of that, right? And just gave my versions of what I've experienced in my life or what I've seen other individuals experience throughout my life of existence. And so this dude hits me up and he tells me, he's like, your song is very hateful. He goes, things are so much better these days than they were back in the day. I'm like, wow, bro. I'm like, wow, okay. And there's not one hateful thing in that song. There's not one. It's just calling it out as I've seen it and experienced it and viewed it, of being in this rigged system that is specifically the United States. Right. And in the same message, he's like, man, he's like, I love you and this and that, but I have to unfollow you now. Cool, bro. I said, I sent him a laughing emoji to his message, because the message was just ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. It's like, clearly you don't understand. And you clearly don't understand the culture of hip hop or the system that we're living in because you just clearly don't get it, or you didn't even listen to the whole song or even try to understand. You heard literally 3 words at the beginning of the song and you just deemed this a hateful song to white people, right? No, it wasn't the case, because if you would have listened to all the way through, at the end of it, I was like, this is to human beings as a whole is who I wrote this song to. And I was like, cool. I just said, peace, bro. Have a good day. I thought he was going to unfollow me. No, he proceeds to send me another couple messages. And one of the last one, he's like, I'm saying this to you out of respect, because I didn't want to put this in a public platform. I said, goodbye, Daryl. I said, don't worry.
Not you said his name.
I did. I said, goodbye, Daryl. I said, I said, don't worry about this being in a public platform, because I'm going to make a video on this. I'm going to use it as a teaching moment. And I said, this whole conversation will be a video on a public platform. So I'm sorry, I needed to get the context, but it goes back to the emotions and music touching emotions and the conversation that we were talking about. Validation, and I'm going to use it in this context. Validation of what you're doing as an artist and making that emotional connection to somebody, whether it's a good one, it's a hateful one, whatever the case might end up being. What are your thoughts on what we were talking about earlier, now being on the flip side of touching somebody with your music, where it spurs an emotion of, I don't like using the word, let's use this word, discomfort.
Okay.
Discomfort, where they might not necessarily agree with what you're saying, but it's going to make them feel a certain kind of way where they may not necessarily agree with it. Do you feel that there's validation from the emotions that comes with music, or what you're doing in general when you're out here day in and day out as an artist, even from those people who they might not fuck with it, but it's hitting them in an emotional way, if that makes sense?
Yeah. A very simple answer. I did my job. Music is a tool. It's been a tool for as long as I can remember. And it can be a tool for love. It can be a tool for rebellion. It could be a tool for storytelling. If it touched you, no matter what emotion it gave you, I did my job. So not much to add there. I did my job. If you feel something from this music, whether you feel triggered by it, enlightened by it, inspired by it, I did my job. One of my favorite artists is Nina Simone. And she was making music during a time when the country was very unstable. And she was often interviewed and asked if she feels bad for generating hateful feelings or emotions in the people who listen to her music, and they want to maybe act on those feelings. And she says, my job as an artist is to reflect the times. If I, through my words, made people feel like they need to react to what's happening to them, I've done my job. So I think him messaging you, it told you 2 things. 1, people may not like and they may not comment, but they are watching. And he's been watching for a long time if he decided to have a conversation basically with himself in your inbox. And you can take that validation in 1 or 2 ways. This person who clearly has an issue with me was still very much engaged in my content and what I'm doing and wanting to keep up with my life. I always find it interesting that I may unfollow a person, remove them from my timeline, but yet you know everything I'm doing. How is this? How is this person that you don't like me, but you still know what I'm doing?
Like every little thing. We got stands in our lives at that point. We got stands.
Condos, baby. I'm happy I'm there.
It is. It's funny though, right? Because there are those people out there, and there's so many people. Again, just this week alone, right? Just this week alone. Just the triggering that's been going on, and everybody wanting to point fingers any
Yeah.
which way as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in a very fast moving news cycle. We live in a very, with you speaking Nina Simone there, in a very different time period, but it's like everything cycles, right? Everything in life cycles, and it's really no different than whatever time period that you want to go back to, when things were really at the forefront. Because no different than we were talking about that scenario that we were just talking about. Things are always going on. It's just a matter of how much are they going on, how much are they out in front of our actual face.
Yeah.
And this time period that we're living in right now is really no different, right? And a lot of it, I feel, it has to do with the underlying issue of a lot of different things going on in life with respect to like mental health awareness and not addressing mental health in a way. And I feel, music has helped me tremendously. I mean, when I stopped drinking 4 years ago, next month it'll be, I needed to immediately replace it with something. Thank you. It's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. And I needed to replace it immediately with something. And that ended up being music, because I needed an outlet to work through my traumas, work on my pain, work on some shit that I had never looked at in a way before, because instead of dealing with it and acting on it, it would be hiding it with booze or pills or whatever the case might be. And I feel there's an opportunity where we as a whole, not just in this country, but the world as a whole, to address, mental health. And that's in any community around the world, because I think that's something that gets swept under the rug as well. So, how do you feel, because you kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier in the respect of taking kind of that year off with respect to things getting overwhelming, and you even used the word, started kind of messing with my mental a little bit. So in addition to you having that self-awareness that we talked about at the beginning of this conversation, how do you feel that music has been an outlet for you to work with any mental mental challenges or things that you've noticed? Hey, I got to try and get XYZ right. And how do you think it can help the collective out here as a whole, maybe make this or bring it to the forefront in a way where it's not really addressed today with respect to mental health awareness?
Again, music is a tool. Going back to that, I think that kind of taking that step back, like taking that year, because I just felt like I wasn't myself, pushed me into trying to figure out what was going on, because it was a very interesting experience. Like you said earlier, I was just really questioning myself. Like, did I say that? Did I do that? Am I acting like that? Is that how people are receiving me? So it kind of pushed me to go see someone and talk to someone and figure out why I'm feeling this way. But I don't think that people, I hate this word, but I don't think that people have the privilege to do that. I also think that if it's not, I have doctors in my family. I'm very thankful for that. I have clinical psychologists in my family. I have sociologists in my family. So I can pick up the phone and I can make phone calls and they can tell me, hey, it sounds like you probably need to go talk to someone. But then on the flip side, my dad's Caribbean. Shout out to all the Caribbean people. If they do not believe in having a mental breakdown, you are tired, go lay down. But my mom's side of the family is from we're from Chicago. Shout out to Chi City, Windy City. When I started seeing someone, she told me, you have seasonal depression. And when you add these things to your plate as the season is changing, it will start to overwhelm you. So that's what you're feeling. You're fine. You just need to go take a vacation and get some sunlight. And I was like, wow, that was what I needed. And honestly, when I took the break and I went and took the trip and I laid on the beach and I felt recharged and I was in the water and I came back, it's so funny. I finished that song that I actually recorded the music video to this year, but that was last year. And when I finished the song, I took the break. And
See, no different than we were talking about earlier. Sometimes the universe will lay out that plan for you, and you just got to walk it. That's one thing that's really sat with me this summer a lot. Shout out to my brother Monster Yo. Monster Yo, if you're not familiar, gentleman that's been incarcerated for 31 plus years now. He went in when he was 16, spent his first 17 years in solitary confinement.
Oh, wow.
Since then, he is written, published, or been a part of publishing upwards of 16 books. He created his own version of a suicide hotline, which is now tied into the national 988 suicide hotline. Mental health is real, people. Please check on the people around you and yourself.
Yeah.
Very important. He's done tracks with Cocaine, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, and he's still in prison.
Yeah, I was gonna
think about that, people.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked. Monster Yo's been on this show before with us.
Oh wow!
I'll send you the link.
Okay.
I'll send you the link. It was a dope conversation. I know we'll have him on again. But one thing in getting to know him over the last couple months that I have, and one thing that he always tells me, which is from you talking about the sequence of events of getting that video and the track finished. And no different than we talked about earlier in this conversation. I've always been a firm believer of this, but it hit different for me when he told me it in this way. The universe has already laid everything out for you. Your path is already written. You just have to do you just have to walk to what is already in front of you. Yeah. And that came to mind when you were talking about that sequence of events, because it was almost like doing it in not the way that it normally would go, right? As far as a song and a video and so on and so forth. And I can appreciate that. But what are your thoughts on the universe just laying shit out for you sometimes and you just having to just walk the path? Or are you a believer in 100%. Predestiny, essentially, and that path being kind of laid for you?
100%.
And we're just kind of here along for the ride. Would that be kind of fair to say?
Honestly, I think we are all just doing it for the plot, because it's already. So in respect to this, I cannot get away from music, and I have physically tried. It's something that I cannot escape, so I know it's something I'm supposed to do. However, I think sometimes people think they can dictate how you're supposed to do it. And so as I get older and I'm growing, I'm able to decide what I want for myself. And I have like a very passive personality. So I'm not very decisive. And I allow people whose personalities are bigger than mine to often just lead. However, in spaces that I create, I'm the leader, and I'm good at that. But I noticed that when I'm in spaces when people, one thing my dad taught me is the loudest person in the room is not the smartest. Actually, the quietest person in the room is the smartest, because what they're doing is observing. And I've always been like and I'm not saying I'm the smartest person in the rooms that I walk into, but I am an observer. And I will not willfully go against the loudest person in the room. I'm just going to be like, yeah, well, it's whatever you want to do. That's fine. And as I get older, I'm realizing how detrimental that is just to my own health, because stress happens to something I learned through my therapist is a physical reaction for me. So when I'm overwhelmed, my stress is physical. I have really bad headaches. I break out in hives. I have to. I'll put it like this. I, at one point, was very unwell and very fatigued. I had been working myself really super crazy. I'd not been getting enough sleep. And I couldn't figure out why I was like sick. It was like I wanted to throw up, but I also like had this really horrible headache. And I went home. When I went home, I had a phone call. And the phone call was, hey, we need you to come to the studio and we need you to write this music for this artist. And I'm like, I'm not really feeling good. I'm trying to rest. This is what's happening to me. And they're like, I need you to get it together and I need you to show up and I need you to do this work. And, my daddy didn't raise no quitter, right? So I get my butt up. I go to the studio. I have my blanket. I have my herbal tea. And I'm in the corner laying down. And the artist that is there is she's like, if that's the couch, she's over there on the couch with her manager and her boyfriend. And the producer is sitting at the computer. And they play the song for me. And I'm physically in agony on the ground. And I'm listening to the song and I'm like, okay, what's the theme? What are we talking about? What do you want to express? And I'm writing on my phone and I'm singing the melody for her in the voice notes. And I'm away from them because if I am sick, I don't want to get her sick, but I also have a job to do. And my body allowed me to complete what I needed to complete. And the minute that I walked out of that studio, I was in such physical pain. But it's like two things. I want people around me that really respect me and value me as a person and not just want to use me for things. Two, I showed myself that even when I feel like I can't, I actually can. And quite possibly I can use the situation that is happening to me as fuel to be better and to grow better and to push myself, right? So I'm thankful. Don't get me wrong. That story may sound horrible, but I'm actually thankful that I was able to learn to push through physical ailments. It's kind of like being in the gym. You think you can't do 2 more reps, and then you just force yourself to do it, and you're like, I can do 5 more reps.
Yep.
Oh, I can do 10.
It's that mindset really kicking in.
Yes. And so different experiences taught me that a lot of the barriers that I create for myself are really just in my mind. If I tell myself I'm not unwell, I'm not unwell. But also I want people to respect how I feel and what I need to be great at what I do. That's all. So music, in a way, if you know how to do it, you can put and formulate all of that into words and produce a really great project that will touch a person. And while they're listening to it, they'll be like, oh man, I go through that too. I experienced that too. But had I not forced myself to go through that process, I wouldn't even be able to write that song to touch that person. So I mean, it's all a very intricately woven mental health, physical wellness, and getting through, pushing through. I would say know your limits, understand your boundaries, and enforce them as much as you can, because it will help you grow as a person and even more as an artist. Oftentimes, I think as we step higher and higher, the things that are required of us will constantly increase. And so you have to know what your no's are and what your yeses are before you get in those rooms. Because when you're operating at a high level with people who do this for a living, you almost cannot have no's. You almost cannot say no. So I'm thankful for those experiences.
No, I can appreciate that. What I take out of that is 2 things. Number 1, boundaries.
Yeah.
There definitely have to be boundaries, right? But number 2, that you can find power in situations where when you're living in that moment right then and there, it might seem like a really shitty scenario, whether it be physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever the case might be, but you can use that as the fuel, as you would put it, to get stronger from it. Take that power and harness it in a way where you didn't necessarily think that it was possible before. Because, at the end of the day, if you don't have the yin, you don't have the yang, right? You don't have the good without having the bad. You don't have growth without being kicked around a little bit, right? And I respect and I appreciate that about you. I always have. I always have, but just getting to hear it in this kind of light hits a little differently. as well, because I very much have experienced that as well, so I can relate,
Mhm.
to that very, very much so as well. And it shows in your spirit, in your energy, and most importantly, in the fact, again, going back to self awareness that we talked about at the
Yeah.
beginning of this conversation.
Yeah.
I respect that because there's a lot of people that will. I mean, again, being a single mom, owning your own business for 4 years now. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, she just celebrated her 4 year anniversary of
Yeah.
her business.
No. So, uh, 10 years.
10 years, excuse me, 10
Business
years.
owner in Kansas City. 4 years at the location that this is my first storefront. So 4 years in my storefront. Yeah. Very exciting.
Thank you for distinguishing that. 10 years she's been
Mhm.
doing this. 4 years at the same storefront,
Yeah.
doing the music,
Doing the music.
being a super single mom. Yo, let me tell you, straight up, every time, like a lot of times when I open up and run through my feed and I come across, the amount of food that I see you putting out there sometimes,
He's
this
spoiled.
this woman right here is doing it, and she's doing it in every aspect of life
Thank you.
that you put it through, and I respect you for that,
Thank you.
sincerely. And it's people like you that I get to see come across my feed, or if I see you up on the studio, the stories, is like, hey, I haven't heard. Again, no different than you were saying earlier. It's like, the things that you do put out, the way the algorithm throws it at you.
Mhm.
Sometimes you got to go looking in the stories for it. So I do. I mean, it's people like you. I'm like, what Sweetss up to recently? Because
Nothing, cracking jokes, taking life,
which is appreciated though,
lightheartedly.
because it's individuals like you that I have the privilege and honor to be able to follow and have some kind of connection with, where on some of the most challenging days, hearing these stories even today, or hearing some of the stories, or whether they're on your stories or in your feed,
Yeah.
it gives individuals such as myself, and I'm speaking for myself now, where I can gain some extra strength. No different than you were talking about a few moments ago when we were like, yo, you're in the gym, right? Your mind is a muscle as well. You got to exercise that, right?
Your
And
mind is your biggest op.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
It's your only op. You ain't really got no ops out here.
I got it in my. It's me versus me.
Oh, that's so dope. No facts. Conquer this. You do anything you want to do.
And
you don't conquer this, you're gonna be in your own prison every time.
It's big truths, and it's individuals such as yourself. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have to go follow Sweetss Music. We're gonna drop it in the comments. We are definitely gonna be sharing some reels this week. This conversation is gonna be living on the YouTube channel permanently, going forward. But it's truly individuals like this that I wish to associate myself with, because no different than you were saying a few minutes ago when you said you're in the gym sometimes and you don't think you can do that extra rep. It's people like you when I come across one of your stories or something on your feed where I see something that you say that is fully felt by me, and it gives me that extra rep that day where I didn't think that I had to go and push through something. So it's embraced, it's felt. I appreciate it. Before we go today, any final thoughts that you want to share with everybody outside watching, either live or when they're going to see this after the fact on the YouTube channel, or when I do reshare it out here on Instagram? Anything that you want to let the people know out here?
You know what? We've said it. Just honestly, conquer your mind, and stay true to you. Stay true to yourself. Those are my final words. Conquer your mind and stay true to yourself, and don't let anyone else determine your path. You're in control of that. So yeah, final words.
True story.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen outside with us today or watching this after the fact,
We outside.
we are outside. Sweetss was back for the second time. She always has an open door here with us. I'm going to drop her information on all of our platforms today. Make sure that you go give a follow. First and foremost, for the human being that she is, because she is a dope human being full of love and energy and nothing but respect for those around her. And she is somebody that you want to follow. And then in addition to that, she's a pretty dope and talented musician as well.
Back. I'm not one of them.
And she's back on the horse. She's back on the horse now. So y'all got to tap in. We appreciate you.
Yes. I can't even say it because I don't know when we're dropping the music video, but it's so nice, y'all. And we're relaunching the song. So I do want to say, and I have to say, shout out to the district. Shout out to Joe Black, who did produce that song. It's we got such a complicated relationship. But I cannot take away how talented that guy is. He helped me bring which is the name of the song, to life. And we're going to launch the video. We're going to re-release the track so that you can hear it. So I'm really excited about that. Just stay tuned for bigger things when working with other people in Kansas City. Maybe even, yours truly.
Stay tuned.
So
stay tuned.
I'm really excited. It's just good things are happening. Good energy. We got good aura over here. Okay.
True story. Now, we appreciate you. We are here for it. Always a member of the family here at We Outside. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for being here physically in person as well, because we tap in with people all over the country, all around the world. So it's nice. You live now, True story. True story. And you are always welcome back. And I'm not talking just for a conversation. And we've already talked about that anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've been outside with Sweetss. If you have not tapped into the live conversation, it's going to be available here on YouTube permanently. And sometime this week, I will reshare the whole entire conversation here on Instagram as well. So we appreciate y'all tapping in. Tell the others, you know what it is. We outside, people.
Peace.